Hello everybody and welcome to race number 2 of the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship Summer Super Series. We are here at Barcelona, the Circuit de Catalunya, for 2 hours with 3 classes, LMP2, GTE Pro, and GT3 AM. And it should be a good one tonight as we continue to set the grid for Season 3 in the KRL. We have LMP drivers here looking to get their super licenses, as well as many other drivers making their debut. These are the dog days of summer, so not big fields, and of course that's why we're not running the championship over the summer. But we've got some great drivers here, and as we say, some newcomers getting their feet wet as we prepare ourselves for Season 3 in the Night Racing League. Lone qualifying in season number 3. As fun as the open qualifying was with 3 classes, we just didn't want to have such a long session and the days dragging out. So we're back to lone qualifying, and let's have a look at how everybody timed out. Clayton Barklow in his first race in the LMP Dallara P217 put in a 129.296. He'll be on the front row with Keith Rainey with a 129.559. Aaron Stillwell, another newcomer, a 29.723 alongside Paul Seeley, the Canadian, with a 29.729, just 6 1,000ths behind Stillwell. Christian Semba is inside row number 3, making his debut after a fantastic race at Le Mans in a Night Racing Esports car. A 130.073 and a 30.094 for Dean Ellico. He'll start 6th. Lucas Wallace makes his debut, 130.187, as we have 0.9 of a second covering the entire LMP2 field here today. In GTE Pro, Jacques Boffa is on the pole with a 137.2. He'll line up alongside Zach Vorster. Mark Sonnen and Kevin Hensel make up row number 2. Into the 38s, it's Imantas Salikas making his debut in the GTE class. Only 5 cars here for the pros. A lot of the regulars taking the month of July off. Jan Spammers will line up on pole in GT3 AM, a 142.311, ahead of Marcel Street, who's had a great weekend so far in the Porsche 911. Lincoln Russell, who had that podium finish in Silverstone, lines up inside row number 2 alongside Dale Klopp. John Nielsen and Chris Thompson. Welcome back, John Nielsen, the 54 car. You remember him from Season 1. And he lines up alongside his buddy, Chris Thompson, in row number 3. No qualifying times set by those two. We're just awaiting the cars. Qualifying is finished. And we're just waiting for everybody to get their race setups in. And we will get underway for 2 hours here at Barcelona. The Summer Super Series here today on the historic Grand Prix circuit. We won't be using the chicane at the end of the lap. And you can see the 14th of August, we will be at Sebring to round out the Super Series here with a 90-minute run into the sunset in Florida. And later on today, we have very big news. As promised, we will be announcing the official Season 3 schedule as the Porsche pace car gets itself on the back straightaway and cars are about to line up here for the race. And there is Clayton Barklow in his 818, that beautiful pink and black car, on pole for his first race in the Night Racing League. Behind him, Aaron Stillwell in that purple with the black roof. And there is Keith Rainey with a spectacular qualifying. Everybody now lining up. We'll have a 10-second gap to the GTE cars, and it's going to be a 5-second gap from GTE Pro to GT3 AM. A short pace lap here, of course. We want to make sure everybody is rolling. All of these format adjustments being done here in the Super Series so that everything is finalized and ready to go for season number 3. We're very excited to get the calendar up there. We'll do that for you later. But right now, we are rolling. And out into the gravel trap goes Aaron Stillwell, maybe just getting a last-minute adjustment there on the wheel. The GTE's rolling in behind as the Porsche pace car pulls off, and we get ready for 2 hours at the Circuit de Catalunya here in Spain. Everybody lined up nicely, and the green flag is out. Clayton Barclow leads us down the hill to turn number 1. In behind the night racing cars, side by side, Seeley having a look. Decides to drop back in behind his teammate. The GTEs are into turn 1, and it is Jacques Botha in the lead ahead of Kevin Hensel, Zach Vorster, and a Silikas in the 546 up into 4th place. In GT3 AM, Jan Spammers in the lead. As that is Clayton Barclow, he is dropped to the back of the LMP field, giving Keith Rainey the lead. So something has happened to Barclow. We'll get a replay of that soon. Keith Rainey now leads up front in LMP. Vorster moves into 3rd place in GTE Pro. But it's a great start as we come around and complete lap number 1 here. Night Racing Esports Cars Run 1-2. With Dean Ellico in a new paint job there today, running in 3rd. And Dean having a little look. No, he's going to sit in behind. 2 hours here, get those tires up to temperature, get settled in, and then we go racing. A good run as the 888 of Jacques Botha leads Kevin Hensel, and they've got a bit of a breakaway here at the front. Imetis Silikas in 3rd ahead of Zach Vorster. Mark Sonnen has dropped down, and we hear he's had a little spin on lap number 1. Back up front, Ellico now under pressure as well from Stillwell. 9/10 of a second separated the LMP field. In qualifying, we're expecting one heck of a race here today in the P217 class. As a big dive down the inside, Stillwell, and he's going to clip Ellico. And whether that was an accident or he actually had the presence of mind to flash his headlamps as he spun around, you could see the 126 of Semba also into the gravel as he looked to avoid the spinning 429. Back up to speed is Ellico, but he falls back in behind Barclow, who is back into 5th place. There's Imetis Silikas making his debut in the 546 BMW M8. And he's got Zach Vorster right on his tail. A short GTE Pro field here today, but very close in qualifying. And we've got some racing, a little bit of a defensive move down the hill into turn number 1, and Salikas will maintain that. There is Dale Clough ahead of Lincoln Russell, the Ferrari, with a bit of a draft down the main straightaway. As Jan Spammers has also spun. We've got replays to get ahead. We had all kinds of action and didn't catch all of it. Let's check out what happened here on the start. Clayton Barklow in lap number 1 got away from pole. And here he is coming down into Sayat. Just a little too much weight transfer, and around he went. That dropped him down to the back of the field. Then we saw this one on lap number 2. This is Dean Ellico, and from way back comes Aaron Stillwell, and there's the tap. There you see Semba heading off into the gravel trap as well. And what happened to Jan Spammers? We hear on lap number 2, the pole sitter in GT3 AM. And in Verth, just a little too much speed. And around he went, having to wait for the GT3 AM class to go by. So 2 of the 3 pole sitters with issues on the opening laps. As we pick up with Mark Sonnen, who also had some issues, we're told. A little bit of a wrinkle on the front of that C8R. Mark has himself in 5th place, just now coming back through the GT3 AM class. Keith Rainey leads out front in LMP2. A 1.5 second lead now over his teammate Paul Seeley in the 72. There is Seeley. Aaron Stillwell now, who is under investigation from the stewards for that little incident down at the end of the back straightaway into Lakaxia. Now runs in 3rd place, and a good little battle starting up here. That's Lucas Wallace in the 024 making his debut. Clayton Barklow, the pole sitter, now back up to his tail as the LMP field completes their 4th lap here. And Clayton is going to make a move down into turn number 1. Leaving his nose in there, and a great defense by Lucas Wallace, and around he'll go through Renault corner down to turn number 4. Clayton looking very, very racy. As we check back in. Stillwell now. Spammers around again. What is going on with the 999? Spammers was our 2nd place finisher in Silverstone. That race won by his teammate Jaco Stein, who is not here today. Early issues here. Not particularly hot, but the temperatures are rising. This lobby opened with a sim time of 10 a.m., which made the race start just after 11 o'clock sim time, so we're heading up to midday in Spain. Stillwell on the inside of the Canadian down the main straightaway. And he's going to make that move. Aaron Stillwell up into 2nd. Seeley with a little bit of a look back, but no crossover. As we check back in with the 024 of Lucas Wallace, still holding off. Barklow there, we just caught a glimpse of Ellico now. 3 seconds back at that battle. So 0.9 seconds separated the field from qualifying. It's a 10-second gap with a few little issues. It's Christian Semba who's dropped to the back. We saw him catch the gravel there, trying to avoid Dean Ellico. And yes, he rejoined the circuit in behind. He hasn't had any other issues. That all came from the contact with the 338 car. And there is Aaron, who we are told is getting an avoidable contact for that late dive down into La Caxia. Not a biggie. I'm sure he feels terrible about that anyway. First penalty is a warning here in the KRL. Multiple penalties then head up to either qualifying bans or time penalties as Stillwell. That is Barclow down on the inside with Lucas Wallace, and he will retake 4th position. We usually have a class that sort of hijacks the broadcast, and with a light GTE Pro field, and we've got a good GT3 AM, but they're a little spread out right now. Clough and Russell very close on circuit. But we have the largest class here today is LMP, which never happens. And they are looking like they're going to steal the show here today. Rainey and Stillwell getting by the 999 of Jan Spammers. Jan O'Seely right in behind too. We have a 3-way fight here for the lead in LMP. Spammers now, we just caught a glimpse of him as the front end here of LMP came through. 12.5 seconds he finds himself behind Marcel Struth, the 78 car. Got to give a shout out as Stillwell has a look there, just waiting to come by. That's John Nielsen who puts it out wide into the gravel with the lead about to change. Here we come. Stillwell makes a move very tight there with Keith Rainey down the main straightaway. Stillwell with his nose ahead. Rainey keeps it in there and comes across. They touch. Oh, and more contact. That Dale Clough looks like he caught a little bit of the 6 car. Stillwell is around, and he has to sit and wait for a gaggle of cars to come through. Aaron Stillwell will drop all the way to the back of the LMP field while trying to make a pass for the lead. Everybody together as we're coming through the GT3 class. All the leaders together in LMP and all the GT3 class together. Everybody on the same section of circuit. Semba finds himself up in 5th place now. There is Rainey, who has dropped to 6th. Aaron Stillwell now down to the back end of the LMP field. As we have a look at that, definitely some contact there, as it looks like Rainey tried to use the GT3 car as a pick. Stillwell would have none of that. And that looked a little net. Cody Seeley got a piece of that too. You see Dale Clough catching a little bit of that. On board, this is from the 72's vantage point. Oh, how he squeezed that car through. There's Clough out of the way nicely as all 3 come through, and then just a little tap, and as Stillwell hits the brakes, Seeley definitely caught the back end of that car. So we'll see if there's any damage on the front end of the 72, who now finds himself in the lead. There is Seeley, and he's got, of all people, Clayton Barclow behind him. Clayton dropped all the way to 7th, and through the chaos finds himself back in 6th. We saw him pass Lucas Wallace. Lucas is in 3rd. There is Lucas, as we have a top 3 battle again, but it's 2 brand new cars. Keith Rainey now 6 seconds off the lead. So actually, considering he went around, that is not too bad, and he certainly got the pace. There was Christian Semba. We saw him just for a second. Back up front, the Canadian in the 72 finds himself up front in LMP2. But everybody in the same camera shot. There's Ellico, Semba, and Rainey. Little bit of gravel from the back of Barklow. The pole sitter has been very, very fast all week. But it was noticed as he makes a move. Not a big defense with an hour 45 remaining in this race. Seeley falls back into second place. This race is going to be very, very tight on, well, I was going to say tires, but it's also fuel and tires. It's either a two-stop with a splash, or if you fuel save, you can probably do this on a two-stop in LMP. So, could explain why not a huge defense there. There's Jens Spammers. He's got himself back up to second place. That's Lincoln Russell in the 29, who he's just passed. Dale Clough has actually gone to pit road and been back out. So he's a lap down to that race. As your new race leader in LMP, Clayton Barklow, making his Night Racing League debut, puts it on pole, spins on lap 1, drops to the back. He's fought his way back through 3 of the cars. The other ones got in trouble and allowed him by. Ellico and Semba back together. You got to keep that timing screen in focus. It's been changing very, very often. Barklow, Seeley, and Wallace, your top 3, separated by 3.5 seconds. 4.5 back to Ellico from the leader. Just over 5 to Christian Semba. And this tight LMP field not finding a way yet to separate themselves. Up front in GTE Pro, it is Jacques Botha with a 3-second lead over Kevin Hensel. There is Kevin. Imantas Salikas still in that battle with Zach Vorster. We know he was worried ahead of the race about connection issues, if he was going to be blinking. The car looks rock solid, and we are glad to have Salikas here in the race. He's running a solid third with Zach Vorster right on his tail. That is the battle in GTE Pro right now. Zach, in his second race, he had a 5th place finish in Silverstone, tries to make the outside move stick, and what a great pass. The 30 car, Salikas tries to stick it back in there, but Forster has the C8R up to 3rd place. Wallace, Ellico, and Semba still the close battle here, 3rd, 4th, and 5th in LMP2. We hope you're enjoying this special Saturday night stream. Busy day tomorrow. British Open, other things. We'll make whatever excuses. British Grand Prix. It's all happening in England this weekend, isn't it? And so we're putting the stream out early for you here on a Saturday night. Welcome and hello to everybody watching on YouTube. Race number 2 of the Night Racing League Summer Super Series as we get ready to kick off Season 3 in September. We have one more race here in the Super Series. That is 90 minutes next month at Sebring, 14th of August. And we are very, very happy, despite the grid size here today. A little disappointing, but we understand it's summer, so I'm not going to hold that against anybody. but there are 55 drivers signed up to race in Season 3. We are setting the grid based on performance here in the Summer Super Series. That is Clayton Barklow, your race leader in LMP2, working on getting his KRL Super License. A Super License, a requirement to drive the LMP classes. Paul Seeley coming through the GTEs here, trying to maintain that gap. That third place battle between Vorster and Salikas. Look at the C8R squirm under the brakes. Seeley goes to the outside to try not to take that line away. He gets through. The gap is maintained. Doesn't really affect the gap between the two GTE pros. Here comes Wallace trying to do the same thing. He will wait as they come through Campsa, and now down the back straightaway he'll dispatch with both of those cars. Here comes Ellico as well. Not so fortunate as Vorster has to give him that line. Barklow's had an issue. A little bit of a lockup, and Lucas Wallace will take second place. And Dean Ellico says, I'll have me some of that. The top 4 in LMP, all under 2 seconds, and it's only 4 seconds back to Christian Semba. There you see everybody on the same screen. Here comes Keith Rainey past that battle. The top 6 after 20 minutes in LMP2 separated by 5 seconds. Seeley makes it by his GTE Pro teammate, Kevin Hensel. Kevin still in second place. He's got a sizable lead over Zach Vorster. That battle with Salikas has dropped them 11.5 seconds back of Botha. Probably the LMPs coming through also cost them time. We'll see if they can close that up as the prototype field comes through the front end of the GTE Pro class. Barklow has been nothing but exciting since he joined the league. He was at a lot of the practices. Don't actually have the stats. I remember seeing him in multiple sessions. Very, very fast in all of them. And I think I started this thought earlier, although a couple of raised eyebrows. I don't think anybody saw him do a race run, so this is really the first time we may have seen the 818 on full fuel. Of course, that's speculation, that is not fact. But Clayton certainly seems to have the pace here. Other than that little spin, and we know he had a little bit of a moment a couple of laps ago, allowed Wallace back through, but his lap times look very, very good. Just now, because I mentioned it, he does have fast lap of the race, and it's not even close. A 1:29.6. As he's gone around again, it looked like. No, he was sideways, but he saved it. Holy smokes. A 1:29.6 for Barklow. That is the fast lap of the race. And the next fastest, Aaron Stillwell, a 1:30.7. So more than a second a lap quicker than the next fastest lap of the race. The top 3 now all covered by 1.3 seconds. As Wallace comes around, and a spin by Rainey. And that looks like he's caught Stillwell as well. He has. Stillwell has spun into the gravel trap. So more issues for the 15, or for the 6 car. Lucas Wallace, as that was happening, was having a little look at the 72. He's still behind. Rainey has gone to the pits. We'll try and check out what happened there. Here's a replay. Down into Lakaczyk. He clips the curbing and sends it around. And then as he rolls forward, it clips the back end of Stillwell, who had to take avoiding action to the outside. And Rainey back into the pits. He's being towed. Apparently some damage. Stillwell also is in pit road. And you can see heavy damage on that left rear corner. So that is too bad for Stillwell making his debut here. He had that issue earlier from which he's received a penalty. That one not his fault. And he's going to have to get that car fixed. Meanwhile, back up front, Seeley, Wallace, and Barklow all together. You see in the background, Ellico and Semba together. Two separate battles going on here. There is Ellico and Semba coming back through Jan Spammers. The second place car in GT3 AM trying to chase down Marcel Struff. We said he was having a good weekend, and he leads the GT3 AM class by 8.6 seconds. And there is Marcel as the LMP field comes through. Boy, does this bode well for Season 3 when we get everybody in. No Wayne Wortley today, winner at Silverstone. Eric Fox also taking a little bit of a summer break. Of course, Brommel and Rotter, our Season 2 champion, not here. We had that top end of the LMP field in. Oliver Schlab's also not here. And of course, the big news, as off the track now is Barklow. So what has happened there? He has the car rolling. That was very curious. And that has dropped him right off the tail end of this battle for the lead. Lucas Wallace now has a tow on the 72. I can't remember the last time we've had this much action early, as Wallace has taken the lead. Down into Elf, turn 1. Lucas Wallace in the 024 is up front in LMP. Let's see if we can have a look and see what happens to Clayton Barklow there. On board. He's got a tow. And what happened? His wheel goes squirrel. That's got to be a hardware problem. And we saw him regain the circuit, so it looks like he had to do a reset there. It didn't take very long, and he's back on track, but what an eventful first 30 minutes for the 818. On pole, a spin on lap 1. He had another little lockup that cost him second position when Wallace went by, and now this, he's in 5th place. 17 seconds off the lead. He was right on the tail end of this battle, so that cost him about 16 seconds on track. And we'll try to find out from Clayton what's going on there. See if we can get an update from pit road. .6 of a second from Seeley. 18 laps in the books. We expect the pit window to open up after lap 24 for these guys. We'll see how that works out. Did I even get my big news? We had so much stuff going on there. We were talking about the LMP field and who wasn't here. And of course, the very big news is that two-time GTE Pro champion Jennifer McDonald is making the switch to LMP2. That was confirmed a couple of weeks ago, and very excited to make that announcement in what is an already spectacularly close class. We have 9 drivers now with super licenses. They're looking for a 12-car field. And Jennifer McDonald, of course, awarded a super license. No audition required there for the 2-time champion. And we can't wait to see her. She did make at least one practice session that I'm aware of. I wasn't at all of them myself this week. But it'll be an unbelievable field in LMP2. We are really looking forward to it. And we're getting a great preview here with 7 cars, although 2 of them in the pits. Stillwell still getting fixed. We'll do a quick little check on him. Yeah, that car is still on pit lane. Seeley not dropping back here. So he seemed happy to let Wallace go. And he's using that tow. Maybe doing a little fuel saving. 31.4 and 31.3 the last time around, respectively. Look at a big wiggle there from the 024. And that'll tighten them right back up. Christian Semba has recovered 2.5 seconds back. Saw a glimpse of him there in the top of the screen. Struff and Spammers are together. See if we can get a little look at them. There is Marcel in the 78. And Jan Spammers has pulled back within 1 second. So we're going to have a battle for the lead in GT3 AM. Kevin Hensel just coming up through there at the moment. Seeley not much of a tow, and doesn't look to have the body language that he's going to be making a move there. Struff still with the C8R between he and the Lamborghini. Pulls it over on the back straightaway. He'll allow Hensel through. As long as Kevin gets a good entry there. Hopefully not a slowdown there as the Lamborghini does draw closer. All together again, watching both battles on the track as coming around to complete lap number 18 in GT3 AM. Marcel Struff, your leader, Jan Spammers in second, and they've got an 8.5 second gap back to Lincoln Russell in the Ferrari. 4 car manufacturers in GT3 AM. We have 3 different ones on the podium positions at the moment. That's the new 911 GT3R that was released just last month in iRacing. And Marcel Struff out front, although he is under big time pressure right now from the 999 Lamborghini Huracan. Half a second is the gap now. Clay Barklow in the pits. And that is a drive-through penalty. So he is the first car to come foul of the 10X rule. Jan having a look. Vorster in behind. He's coming through. He's going to wait until they get through Campsa. And here comes the C8R. We get both cars. It does not look like it. Still watching the LMP battle. We'll cut to that if anything gets really close. Wallace still leads Seeley and Semba. They are just now coming through Campsa. 1, 2, 3, Elico and Barklow not very far behind. Although Barklow, has been down through the pits. He's now pitted twice. with drive-thrus, we're told. Every 10X and then 6X, as Salikas is the next GTE Pro car to come through, and that is really hampering the battle here with Spammers. Although with an hour and a half left, there's no need to push it. It looks like he has the pace. He was a 10th slower last time, but if you look at the fastest laps, Spammers has done a 1:43.2. Stroof's best lap a 1:43.6. So Jan could probably manage his time. No reason to do anything too crazy. We have pit stops coming up. So we're just now getting to the point where you're planning your pit stop, gauging your tire wear. We'll see how many people take rubber here in this race. A little confused about the second pit stop on Barclow there, but I only saw him come down pit road once, but there's been a lot going on, and forgive me if I missed that. We check back in here for a moment. The LMPs, you can see, pretty much unchanged. 1.3 seconds cover the top three. I guess the only change is that Semba has really closed that gap up, and we're back to a three-car battle. Spammers with a good toe now down the hill. We'll see if he's about ready to reclaim the top spot in GT3 AM. Spammers, of course, the pole sitter here. But he's had a couple of little spins, and it looked like they were on his own as well. But he has kept his cool, got his car back on track, and as Dale Clough comes down the pits, and there is the move through Repsol, and the Lamborghini is back out front in GT3 AM. And a drive-through for the 18 of Dale Clough. Something else you have to get used to here. This is a low incident series, and the incident limit has been raised actually for the 3 classes. We're 10X now, and then every 6X. And for all new drivers, it's just something you have to get used to. It's not the rough and tumble, devil-may-care world of official racing. You have to pick your way through traffic, you have to be respectful of everybody out there, and you have to take care of your car. And it usually takes a race or two, and a drive-through penalty is just telling you it's time to respect those track limits a little more, maybe think about your passes. There's no need to gamble in the first 15 minutes of a 2-hour race, and they'll all get it. As these battles continue to rage in LMP2. Dean Ellico coming now through the GT3 AM leader, Jan Spammers. He brings Barclow with him. Remember, the 818 is now, he shows 1 minute 38 seconds down, so he is 1 lap behind the race. And I know his last time through pit road was a drive-through. I don't think he stopped for fuel. I mean, we'll know if he stops when everybody else does, if they were both drive-throughs and he needs fuel, or if he came down and got an early fuel stop. I'm not sure that would work, however, as these cars were very, very tight on doing this race on 2 stops. So I can't imagine there's any advantage to coming down early. 24 laps are completed, so we are now in the window for the LMP2s. We'll see if they head down pit road anytime soon. Wallace leads Seeley by half a second. Semba has dropped back now a second off the back of the Canadian. He did have that up really close, but of course they've just come through the GT3 AM leaders, so maybe that opened that gap up a little bit. Seely heavy on the brakes. It looks like Wallace may have let off early there with Vorster in front of him. And Seely hard on the binders. No contact. Look at how close Semba got now with that little concertina. Nobody came in, obviously. We are on our 26th lap in LMP. As up the hill through the fast right-hander at Campsa. And very wide there, and that will be a 1X for the 72 car. And we know he's got 4 already for that contact with Stillwell when Rainey spun down there in Elf. So you gotta manage those incident limits. And you gotta manage those left side tires as the LMP field is in. Wallace, Seely, and Semba all hit pit road, locking up the rears. Here comes Ellico in behind. I do not see Barclow. He's gone around again. So still not sure what he's done in the pits. Maybe that first pit stop was for fuel. Maybe he came down early. Got a little damage fixed, maybe? I'm not sure. Aaron Stillwell back on track as we check in with our GT3AM leader, Jens Spammers, and a quick look there at Marcel Struff as well, who has dropped to 3rd place. Lincoln Russell, we missed that, up to 2nd. Seely up on the jacks. Wallace is the first away. Semba in 2nd now with Dean Ellico. What is going on with the 72 car? Left front tire changed and he's away. We get lots of strategies in this class. So there's the first, your 2nd place car. Seely has now dropped to 4th. Wallace, Semba, and Ellico fuel only. 33 seconds stopped for Wallace, 35 for Semba, 32.7 is the quick stop for Dean Ellico, and Seely stopped for 47.7, 15 seconds longer than Dean. We saw that left front tire get changed. That's the heavy wear tire. And I think that may be the first time we have ever seen a 1 tire change in this series. We'll see what that does. Seely now almost 16 seconds off the lead. So we'll watch that gap closely. Christian Semba now up to 2nd place. He had that early off, just avoiding some other action. Got himself in a gravel trap, dropped it back, but he's fought his way back up and looking very, very good here in his Night Racing League debut. The 126 car currently running in 2nd place. Dean Ellico right behind him. Semba lost 1.6 seconds, stopped to Lucas Wallace. And that is the gap you're seeing on circuit. As we check in with Zach Vorster coming by Chris Thompson. Not in his customary Porsche. Chris running the AMG. With the 911 GT3R, we thought he may continue on. He drove the RSR, of course, that great historic Sebring livery of his buddy, whose name escapes me. Chris, I'm sorry. I had it written down. I don't have it in front of me. But he has not taken up the 911 GT3R car. He is running an AMG at the moment. That, of course, can change as this summer series is used to try out cars who are not locked into a chassis until race 1 of season 3. So we'll see where Chris ends up. as Semba threads the needle through Mark Sonnen and Lincoln Russell. And that's going to open up that gap nicely as Elico had to wait to get through the Bank Sabadell. As Vorster and Hensel in the pits. Hensel getting tires, and so is Vorster. As they drop down the field temporarily in GTE Pro. As your race leader comes through the 888 of Jacques Botha, having a great run here and puts Salikas a lap down there. I believe Salikas, no, he's done a pit stop and took tires. Vorster now into the pits. So your race leader, the almost last of the GTE pros to come down. Mark Sonnen has also not come down pit road. Mark almost 55 seconds behind. He had that spin earlier. We check back in with Paul Seeley as he's up through Campsa, getting by Lincoln Russell. He is under threat here from Marcel Struff. The GT3 AMs yet to pit. This is a battle for position, the race for second place in class. Saw a brief look there at Mark Sonnen, currently running in second place. He will be coming down pit road. He is the only GTE Pro car not to pit. As a good tow here from Struff. Not sure he's going to be close enough. He reels in the Ferrari. We're already more than 45 minutes into this 2-hour race. It has flown by with all the action. As we await the GT3 AM pit stop. We believe it's a 2-stop race for everyone. We still have 13 minutes to go to halfway. All the pro cars have stopped now. Sonnen has been in and out. A very quick stop for Mark, 21 seconds. So he is the only car to not take tires, it looks like. I think all the other GTE Pro cars have taken tires. Botha did not take tires. Full fuel for Botha. As we watch him now, and Struff is by Russell. Just in the back into Lacaxia. The 78 back up to P2. Cuts that corner and into the pits as the GT3 AMs start their round of pit stops. I know there's a slowdown on the inside of that corner. I really hope Marcel didn't trigger that. I'm not sure what the ramifications are as you're coming into the pits. There you see what's happened there. He's missed his pit box. He came in too sharp. Spammer's already in the box, and the top 3 all stopped as John Nielsen will temporarily take over the lead in GT3 AM. We're watching a battle now. This is a battle for third place, in GTE Pro. Mark Sonnen and Zach Vorster, a couple of C8Rs battling it out for the final podium position. Both cars have pitted. This is a legitimate battle on track. up front, speaking of legitimate battles, Christian Semba now on the tail of Lucas Wallace. They complete their 31st lap in LMP2. And Dean Ellico not far behind. You can still put a 3-second sheet over the podium in LMP after almost 50 minutes of racing. Just checking my notes, and we don't have... There's a pass. Vorster has made the pass down into La Caxia. So up to third place. As Chev, the Corvettes, having a great day. Of course, only 5 GTE pros here today. 4 of them are Corvettes. And they're running 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the moment. Christian Semba now as they come up on the back of the 66 of Chris Thompson. The leaders are through, and we'll see if he can stay close enough, and we'll have a bit of a tow and maybe another lead change in LMP. I wish I was making a tick mark every time we had a lead change, because there have been a lot of them today. And what has been a fantastic race at the top of the timing screen. Marcel Struff moves back into the lead in GT3M. Jens Spammers is in third. Well, Nielsen's in the pits, so Spammers moves into second as I say it. I'm checking the pit time. Struff, fuel only. Spammers did take tires. There is Marcel in the lead. So multiple strategies going on here in GT3M as well. Lincoln Russell now passes a stationary John Nielsen. Nielsen is taking tires. Russell also took tires, but a very large... with the timing of the pit stops, it's still a 2-stop race for GT3M, but they can do either a splash or even out their stops. So we're seeing some strategies here. It was a short fill for Marcel Struff, so we imagine he's going to do a full fill. We'll see if there are tires involved there. It's 19.5 seconds for the 78 car stopped in pit road. Now we know his pit time was compromised when he missed his pit box. He had to reverse, but he has come out in the lead. Spammers appears to have taken full fuel and... No, part fuel and tires. He may be splitting this into 2 equal spots. 46.4 stopped on pit road. Lincoln Russell looks to have done the full fuel and tires. 59.7 as Semba now has the tow and has a look down into turn number 1 on Lucas Wallace, who holds that inside. We saw him do that earlier against Barclow. So a great defense, and the 024 maintains the lead in prototype. Dean Ellico closing that gap. Only 1.7 seconds now covers the top 3. They are all in touch. No lap cars in between. And where is Paul Seeley? 10.2 seconds. So the man with 3 wheels on his wagon, that fresh left front tire, is the fastest car on circuit on average. And that gap, which was 17 seconds as he came out of the pits, is now 10 seconds from the leader down to 4th place. We start to see how these pit strategies play out. No real fuel strategy in LMP as long as you can make it on 2 stops. It's not a ton of fuel saving, but you just can't let it roll. You're going to have to hit a fuel number. Everyone made the 26 laps and the 40-minute mark of the race. Of course, that's the key. If you're going to do it on 2 stops, you've got to get a minimum of 40 minutes per stint to make the 2 hours. And everybody made that. The only interesting one is the 818 of Clayton Barklow. We know he stopped early for fuel. Then he had a drive-through, and he sits 27.5 seconds back, but depending on how early he stopped, I'm thinking he's going to have to stop 2 more times for fuel. We will watch that as well. The top 3 in LMP, all coming out of Sayat. 1.5 seconds separate the top 3 after 55 minutes of racing. As we go on board with Dean Ellico. All 3 cars sort of sorted out a little bit, maybe settling in with the new tires if they have them, getting the second stint. Seeley continues to close that gap. It's down to just over 9 seconds in behind. We've got an idea here of what it's like to come through traffic in an LMP2 car. Mark Zonin in the C8R just up ahead. John Nielsen and Zach Vorster in front of him on circuit. Salikas looks like he may have disconnected. We'll watch that. Nothing weird happened, I don't think. We'll find out. That car is definitely out of the lobby as we come by. There is Nielsen on the left. We did hear a little bit about internet problems earlier, but we didn't see him blinking at all, so it'll be interesting to find out what happened to the 546. But he has definitely left the lobby, so it looks like we're down to 4 GTE pros here. And that's too bad on his debut in the league. Just when you thought it couldn't get any tighter. 1.1 seconds separate the top 3 in LMP. I don't need to tell you what the gap is. They're all on the same screen. There they are. As we approach the halfway mark of what has been a fascinating race here at Barcelona. Lucas Wallace leads from Christian Semba. Both drivers making their Night Racing League debuts here today. Both drivers racing to obtain their super license for Season 3. How good is that looking for them right now? They've been great in traffic. They're very competitive and they're running 1-2 here. Over on the right, what is going on there? Wallace breaking the toe, or did he get loose and just have to collect it? Doesn't seem to have lost any time. In fact, he was quicker that lap than the 2 behind him. The camera's focused on the battle for second as those cars are closer. see Salikas dropping down the timing screen there. We're watching the gaps. The GTEs are rather spread out. Botha leads Hensel by 25 seconds. Vorster, another 11 back, and Sonnen, 6 behind him. Those are the GTE pros that are running. Struff is again ahead of Spammers. Of course, he did not take tires and a bit of a short fill. So we have pit strategies playing out in GT3 AM. We're watching that gap as Spammers continues to close the gap. You can see a 44.3 as he just crossed the line. Struff in front of him, a 45.5. So 1.2 seconds came off as Semba does a little bit of a power slide coming out of La Caxia. And on the inside, no gap there, and around they've contact. Contact again with Elico. And into the barrier heavy for Christian Semba. Hensel gets his car out of the gravel trap. What happened to Elico? He's on track and up to speed. It was just a little front end contact there. And Semba has had to toe to the pits. You saw that heavy contact. Coming through the final 2 corners. And not... I mean, he's not alongside. I don't think Hensel really expected it. There was room there, but he wasn't actually down on the apex either. So a little unfortunate. That collects out a couple of cars. Paul Seeley snuck through there. We didn't see it on the replay, but he is up to 2nd place. Elico in behind. They're actually rather close on track considering all that. Just 3 seconds between them. Barclow now is in 4th. Semba towing to the pits. And we'll see how long that takes because he was just by pit entrance. And we can't see the corner of the car that's important there, unfortunately. The right rear. We saw it. It didn't look like a lot of crash damage, but the car apparently was not able to drive out of that gravel trap, so there was definitely something going on. And we see in the background, that is Kevin Hensel coming into the pits. And that car has seen the wars. The stewards will have a look at that and if there's anything, but just an ill-timed pass. It really looked to me like Kevin was leaving a lane there. Christian went for it, but just didn't get the car down. And an unfortunate incident there. And Christian, the one who is paying for it, his car in the pits right now getting fixed. We check back in with the GTE Pro leader. That is Jacques Botha, who has things his own way in a short field today in GTE Pro. Don't get used to that as the most competitive and exciting class in this series. Although after what I'm seeing in LMP2, maybe that's going to change. But there are a lot of GTE Pro drivers not here today. Established drivers in the series. And who is not here today? Who is it? Hayden Fowler's not here. Jens Volter's not here. John Dinkel's not here. Jaden Manathan-Garren, Max Riebensteiber, Toby Sebinger, Connor Seidel. Where are all you guys? Anyway, I digress. You guys. And we pop down to Class 2. Marcel Struve still leading in the GT3 AM class. It's a 1 second gap, so ooh, a little clip there. Seeley backs out and finally goes up the inside of Chris Thompson. 1.3 seconds now. The reason the cameras are on Seeley is that gap is now down to under 7 seconds. So the extra grip, there's 3rd place. Elico, he's in the same camera shot. He certainly doesn't look like any damage. We know both The 429 and the 72 have had front end hits now. But they've had pit stops and nothing really untoward about the pit times. So no damage, and the lap times look good. Hensel back out of the pits, so whatever needed to be fixed there is done. 56 minutes remaining. I don't think he could have filled that up with fuel enough to go to the end. So that was clearly a damage pit stop. As the LMP2 leader comes by the GT3 AM leader, who is now again under pressure from the 999 of Jan Spammers. On board a very loud Lamborghini. The 72 of Paul Seeley comes through. Dale Clough in the pits. As Mark Sonnen. Oh no, he's just moving up the timing screen with Semba in the pits, but Spammers again looking to make that move back into the lead. He's got fresh tires, remember. Marcel Struff on the same set that he started the race. And this battle right in the way of the 429 Dean Ellico. He splits the two cars, and Struff, who lets him by both LMPs, Spammers will take that. Very cleverly done. I'm not sure if Marcel knew what was going on. If it looked like he slowed to allow the LMP battle to come through, Spammers took advantage and has taken the lead in GT3 AM. That is Ellico and Barclow, who is now, remember, he was over a minute behind, almost a lap. Everybody else has pit, and he finds himself now back on the tail of Dean Ellico. This is a well and true battle for third place. We don't know if he has to stop 2 more times, though. I really wish I had caught that first pit stop for the 88 team. There was a lot going on there. The gap up front is now 3 seconds. And we're just watching now. Christian Semba's 2 laps down. He's actually 4 laps down. Aaron Stillwell 6 laps down, so we'll wait and see. Hopefully Christian can get that car back on track, but we could have at least somebody for him to race with, as Stillwell, we know, had that big damage repair on his left rear. He's getting closer by the second. So hopefully Christian can get out of the pits there, and we'll have some kind of a race for those guys who have had some issues here on their debuts. In the same corner, waiting for the GTE Pro leader to go through. That's going to slow up the 429, and Clayton Barclow has a good run down the outside. Ellico has the inside, but late on the brakes, and the 818 is through. Clayton Barclow back to a podium position in what has to be the most eventful race debut for a KRL driver. Spammers, as we saw, in the lead, and he's opened that up 4 seconds already. There is Marcel Struff. That's Dale Clough behind him. Dale's had his own issues today and is 2 laps behind the leaders in GT3 AM. Lincoln Russell in the Ferrari, 25 seconds behind the Porsche. don't think I've ever wanted summer to be over faster so we can get the entire field together. Maybe it's Sebring. It's a great track. It's the final tune-up for Season 3. We know we'll still have LMP drivers needing to finalize their super license, so hopefully we'll have a nice big field on the 14th of August. Barclow in the pits at the conclusion of lap 44. Okay, so that's interesting. You see Semba still getting repairs done. 50 minutes remaining in the race, so I have to believe that Clayton Barclow is going to need one more pit stop. It'll be for a splash of fuel, but he has stopped too early for his first stop for whatever reason, whether he had some damage as well and decided to fill it up with fuel while he was in there. It couldn't have been that much damage, as he's been very competitive. He's been caught right back up. It's not like he was in there for a couple of laps. But with 50 minutes left in this race, I think he will be very, very hard-pressed to be able to get to the end of this race. We're pretty sure the rest of the LMP2 field can get by with one more pit stop. And, well, 40-40-40, you can see that should be coming up in 10 minutes. Barclow stopped for 56.4 seconds, so he took tires as well. We're back up front. That's Lucas Wallace, and that is Paul Seeley. The Canadian has erased the 17-second gap when he came out of the pits with that fresh left front tire. We know Lucas Wallace is on his original tires, and they are together with 50 minutes left here today, battling for the lead. The closest race on the circuit is for the lead in LMP2. Dean Ellico 7 seconds behind this battle. Barclow is out of the pits and is now just under, there he is, right in front of these guys. I was going to say just under a lap down. Well, absolutely. He's about 2 seconds in front of this battle for the lead. He's on fresh tires and with full fuel, which actually isn't a bad thing. The pole sitter will probably not be in the way of these guys. In fact, I would expect he may actually pull away from them. So the battle for the lead won't be affected whatsoever by that car. And just having a look, and yeah, a little bit of space. We can watch these guys battle. Just coming out of New Holland is the final GT3 AM car. That's Lincoln Russell. So a nice gap on circuit. And we'll see what Seeley can do with the American here. They stopped after lap 26. If they do that again, it will be lap 52 when they come down pit road. You see Dean Ellico in the background there. That gap is closing. It has honestly seemed that if you want to be fast in LMP2 today, you don't go into the lead, because who's ever been in the lead has been hunted down. And I think everybody's had the lead, haven't they? Wallace has had the lead. Seeley's had the lead. I know Barclow had the lead. Stillwell was passing for the lead. I don't think Christian had it, but he was very close. And I can't remember if Dean Ellico had the lead at all. I'm not sure there either, but what a race we've had in LMP. Seeley in behind. I wonder if he wants to. We know he saved a little fuel when he got up behind Wallace in the first stint. They're on different tire strategies now. Just trying to do the math in our heads. If Wallace takes tires, it's going to cost him 24 seconds. Seeley is up behind him. Don't know if he's going to take tires. As Barclow back in the pits. This is his 4th time down pit road. Is this a drive-through? The leaders will go by and lap him officially. As Seeley, we're going to see if that was a drive. It was a drive-through, but Seeley is on the inside and will take the lead in LMP. The Canadian back up front. Wallace has a look into Renault, but backs it out, and that compromised his apex speed. Seeley will take the inside into turn 4. That's Lincoln Russell in the Ferrari. Clayton Barclow, his second drive-through penalty. That means he's over 16 incident points. Marcel Struff, the first, we know he's short-filled, and the 78 is on pit road. He is out now in 4th place, and that's a full pit stop. 101 stopped. So fuel and tires for the German on lap 41. He should be good to go to the end of the race. We await Spammers Russell and Nielsen, who's been promoted to 3rd temporarily. They all need to make their second stops in GT3 AM. Ellico, who you're looking at now, has the gap down to 5 seconds. As it seems to be impossible not to have 3 cars under a blanket in LMP2 today. Seeley has made the pass on Wallace. Those old tires not giving the stick that just the one new tire on the 72 is giving. Seeley now a 2-second gap. And Ellico reeling in both of them. There's Clayton Barclow, your LMP2 pole sitter, who continues to have an interesting day. He served his second drive-through, is running 4th, just over a lap down, and not really under threat. Stillwell 6 laps behind him. And Semba is still in the pits, so that was quite a lot of damage on the back of that car. And not sure if he's going to make his way back out. Seeley comes by his GTE Pro teammate, now with a 1.5 second lead over Lucas Wallace. Pit stops in the not too distant future for LMP. We'll watch the lap times, or more importantly, we'll watch the clock. If they can stop after 40 minutes to go, maybe 39, you want to have a little bit of a buffer to get around again, depending when the checkered or the white flag comes out. But we'll see if these guys can do this race on one more stop. It seemed like they could, based on the first pit stop. So we'll watch it here. Dean Ellico up on the outside through turn 3. Shoots the gap. He's going to have to... Oh, a nice... Gives him the inside, does Sonnen, and Ellico comes through. That gap down to 4 seconds. Well, you can see how close he is now to Wallace. That is a battle for position here for 3rd place. The final podium in GT Pro. Sonnen yet to make his second stop, however. So we'll see there. Sonnen's been on track for 18 laps. Kevin Hensel pitted 10 laps ago. And he's going to make that pass. Sonnen drops to 4th. Hensel up to 3rd. And Dean Ellico is going to be right on the tail of Lucas Wallace here any moment. Lucas really seeming to struggle on this second stint. We have to assume it's on tires. Sonnen there jumping into pit road in the background. He'll make his second stop. Salikas has retired, so Mark looks solid for a 4th place here. There's Paul Seeley. The gap 3.5 seconds to this battle for second place. Wallace a 34.2 the last time around compared to a 32.3 for Seeley. Now we know traffic can really skew the lap time results, but the 0.24 definitely looks to be on the tail end of the tire life here. We'll see what he does when he comes down pit road. He and Ellico on race starting tires. Dean reeling him in. Is Wallace saving? There's Barclow again for a good time call. The 818. But is Wallace just saving tires, trying to get them to the end of the race? That's the other option here if he wants to save as much rubber as he can and then go at it in the third stint. We will see what these guys do when they come to pit road. This is not a battle for position. Remember, Barclow is a lap behind the leaders. Ellico will pull down. If you want to go, go. Wallace is in the pits at the end of lap 50. 40 minutes to go. He's the first to peel off. Barclow has gone past Ellico. And I'm sure Dean doesn't care which side of him he's on. You want to be in front, fine. You want to be behind, fine. Just don't slow me down. As he is 7 seconds behind the 72 of Paul Seeley. Both cars yet to pit. Lucas Wallace is still on pit road. And he is taking tires. So he will have fresh rubber. Oh, that is Vorster off. And he's going to collect that tire wall. What happened there? On board, he looks like he was passed by the 72 of Seeley and then just got deep. Maybe his braking point was taken out of his vision there. He's regained the track. Zach in second place in GTE Pro, and not that big of a lead. Only 3 seconds now over the 94 of Kevin Hensel. So that was a significant off for the 30 car. And hopefully not a lot of damage done. Seeley and Ellico have both completed lap 52 and have gone around again. So more than 26 laps for those two. There is Kevin Hensel. Now with a shot at the middle step of the podium. No, not really the middle. I guess the winner sits in the middle. You know what I mean. Paul Seeley going around again on his 53rd lap here. And that's going to save some pit time. Clearly he can make it on one more stop, as can Ellico. But now, are they going to put in less than the full 75 liters of fuel? That is the question. As coming around the final two, and the 72 does dive to pit road. So the final stop for your race leader in LMP2, Paul Seeley hits pit road. Barclow will unlap himself again. But we think that 818 car has to make a splash and go near the end of the race, probably in the last 10 minutes. You can see on the timing screens, Dean Ellico. Seeley misses his pit box. That's going to cost time. The 429 is in as well. It was a 7-second gap. We'll see what that does. There is Lucas Wallace just now coming through Campsa. Waiting to see if tires go on this car. We know a left front went on in the first stop. He should be just about full with fuel. And away goes the 72, so no tires. The cameras pick up Lucas Wallace there. He is now just coming through the final two corners into New Holland. He's going to have to breathe the throttle in behind the GTE Pro leader Jacques Botha. We apologize to the GTE drivers today. Not a lot of camera time with a small class. But we do have a battle for second place we're watching, and we may be cutting to that shortly. So Seely on track, 3 seconds ahead of Dean Ellico. Remember, that was a 7-second gap. He missed his pit box, and that cost him 4 seconds on track. Lucas Wallace, 18, just under 19 seconds behind the race lead. He took tires. The difference in pit stop times, 53.5 for Lucas Wallace, 33.7 for Seely with a fuel only, 30 seconds even for Dean Ellico, who hit his pit box. And that's how it shakes out, as we now have 35 minutes to the end of the race. Seely and Ellico together, 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds separate them. And the fresh tires of Lucas Wallace, 17.5 seconds behind. We will see what the lap times are when they come around and we start to get representative times. Vorster 3 seconds ahead of Hensel as we watch that GTE Pro battle. Spammers now with a 35-second lead over Lincoln Russell. That is John Nielsen, who's running in 4th place. He's 1 minute and 20 seconds off the lead. You can see Aaron Stillwell moving up there. He is out of the pits and making his way back up through the field, running 5th in LMP2. A very nice paint job as well on that car, as we get a little airtime, as we apologize there earlier. That is your GTE Pro leader, and he's had a great day today. The 888 of Jacques Botha. Makes his way back through some of the GT3 AMs as around... Oh, and a big hit there. A little early on the throttle. And Dale Clough having to tow back to the pits. Just catch what happened there. It's... I guess we can't... I'm not sure what that was. Try that again. There is Dale. And our replay not hooked up there, but it looked like he let the GTEs go. But it looks like he just picked the throttle up a little early and around it went. As Zach Vorster now maintains that 3-second gap. He was actually 0.3 quicker the last time around than was Kevin Hensel. So we'll continue to watch that. Seely pulls a second off Dean Ellico, but that's not the news in LMP. A 1:31.821 for Lucas Wallace on fresh tires, and that gap that was 19 seconds out of the pits is now 16 seconds. A 32.782 for Seely out front. And so as Seely chased down Wallace in the second stint and erased a 17-second gap, that was with 1 fresh tire. Wallace has 4 fresh tires, and we'll see what he can do with a 19-second gap. He's got 31 minutes to try and hunt down the Canadian. Mark Sonnen in 4th place, and that's going to be a lonely fourth place for the rest of the day. Mark with a small issue very early on, and unfortunately hasn't been able to recover from it. The top three, I was going to say, have had very clean days. Vorster in the pits. He's making his second stop. Kevin Hensel, remember, was involved in that big accident coming out of New Holland with Christian Semba and Dean Ellico, so he hasn't had the cleanest of days. That's why he's 55.5 seconds off the lead. Vorster looks like he's having a full service back there. Fuel only with car, while the car was down on the ground. 30 minutes to go. That was a long fuel only stop. That's Paul Seeley, who has, well, he has won a KRL race. He won the exhibition race at Silverstone before season 1. He has never won a points race. Officially, this is not a points race, but the Summer Super Series, a little more serious and better attended than those original exhibition rounds. I'm trying to think out loud. That was a battle with Nathan Jew, the season 1 champion, and I believe we only had 4 cars in that race in LMP, as the league was very, very young on iRacing. We only have 7 here today, but certainly the quality of the field is up there. We'll see if Seeley can put together his second exhibition win. The gap to Wallace is now under 14 seconds as we drop under 30 minutes to go. The gap to Ellico is increasing. The gap to Wallace is steadily decreasing. He is turning, there is Lucas there, steady mid 131s. Seeley in the mid 33s, 2 seconds a lap. He certainly looks to be on pace to catch, and we'll see if he can pass the Canadian. You've got 28 minutes to find out. Quick look there at John Nielsen back in the league and looking for a podium here. Marcel with that stop. Marcel Struff, who's had a great weekend and has been up front all day long, now in 4th in GT3 AM. And it's a 3-second gap to Nielsen, so a podium place on the line for 2 drivers who really deserve it. Unfortunately, only one of them will be rewarded. Forster now trying to look at 45.1 second stop there. So did Zach take tires? We saw him on the ground pulling away, and I mentioned it was a long stop of fuel only. Maybe the car had just dropped off the jacks when we switched to him. Because Kevin Hensel was stopped for 21.1 seconds, clearly a fuel only stop. Forster 45.1 as Botha is in the pits for his second stop. He hits the pit box, and this should be a short fill. I don't imagine we'll see tires going on that car. And we are seeing tires go on that car. That's very interesting. 26 minutes remaining. He's got such a lead in that class that he's decided to go tires. He's off the jacks now and making his way down pit road, but why leave it out there on old rubber and risk having a silly little spin that wrecks your day? Full service for the 888, and Jacques Botha is back on track, on pace to win here at Barcelona. That's Chris Thompson going out wide to allow the LMP through, and just a little wide, put that left rear tire on the grass. No harm, no foul, and Chris is back underway. A little bit of a power slide there. There is Jacques out of the pits now. And with everybody having pit, you can see Hensel with that extra stop for the damage. He is a little more than half a minute behind the 888 here. And that is your explanation of why that car took tires. Because he could. Lucas Wallace is now 3 seconds behind Dean Ellico. We check in with some of the other LMP cars. That's Aaron Stillwell, the second place GTE Pro driver Kevin Hensel. We catch back up to the race leader. 8 seconds now the gap, and he is looking at those timings, I'm sure, thinking, hey, Dean, maybe you can get in the way a little bit. Because the rate at which the 024 is catching him, there's going to be plenty of time for Lucas to try and set up a pass for the race win. 3 of those 4 tires have been on that car since the start of the race, and we know Wallace is on 4 fresh boots, only having to do 40 minutes of racing on them. The race leader in GT3 AM is in the pits for his final stop, the 999 of Jan Spammers. There he is, and maybe a little bit of a similar situation. Is he going to take tires as well? Yes, sir, he is. Russell in the pits behind him. They've got a nice big gap over Nielsen and Struff, who are right together on track, it must be said. We get a shot of that, maybe? There is John Nielsen, currently sitting in third place, being chased by the 4th place car of Marcel Struff. There he is. Spammers has regained the circuit. Now Struff has already made 2 stops. Remember that short fill he had in his first stop, so he's good to go to the end. Nielsen is going to have to come down pit road, so not as dramatic as you might think there, but a battle for position nonetheless. Nielsen currently in 2nd. Russell still in the pits. He's come out now. It's like a full service for the 29 car, but again, he will likely... well, that's interesting because we know Struff can go to the end, so that's a 14-second gap. If he thought he needed tires there with 22 minutes to go, that time stopped. Would have put him right up with Marcel Struff, so it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Lucas Wallace has caught Dean Ellico, and this is a battle for 2nd place, and Lucas is going to make not much of a battle out of it. Dean is on old tires. He has made no tire changes in this race. Lucas on fresh boots and makes short work of the 429. Ellico to 4th place. 14 seconds ahead of Barklow, who we believe... And there's a contact. Wallace hits the back of Chris Thompson. That gives Dean Ellico second place back. And Thompson tries to get himself sorted out. Maybe a case of who's going to go where, which side. But Wallace has it all to do again. That won't be the issue. The issue is as Dean Ellico locks the fronts and goes right off down at La Caxia. So Wallace back to second, but that 8-second gap is now an 11-second gap. Chris Thompson has recovered. He's back on track. A little bit of a wrinkle on the bonnet. We saw as he tried to spin that car around, it kind of went straight on into the tire barrier. Nielsen yet to pit. He's still got Struff in behind him. Surely he can't do this race on one stop. Everyone else in GT3 AM has stopped. There's John, you see in the back the league branding, so that's nice to see. He's done a custom livery there, and he's got the GT3 AM branding on the back of that car. He's actually pulled over and let Struff go. I'm not sure what was going on there. Is he running out of fuel? Did he leave it one lap too long? We know that 54 car has got to come down pit road. Lucas Wallace now 10.5 seconds off the race lead. We're under 20 minutes to go. Marcel Struff back up to second place in GT3 AM. There is Wallace as he comes by the 30 of Zach Vorster. Paul Seeley completes his 64th lap. Watching the gap as into the pits comes Wallace. What did that contact with Thompson put him over the incident limit? Lucas Wallace on pit road. And it was a drive-through penalty, the 0.24, and that's going to give Dean Ellico second place. Clayton Barklow right in his mirrors, so we do have a battle for second, but none of the math works out for the 818, unfortunately, and we think he's going to have to come down pit road for just a little bit of fuel. About 10 minutes, we think, is how much fuel he needs. So Dean Ellico in second. What is the gap to Wallace? It is 7 seconds, 6.5. But crucially, for the 72 car, he now has a 26.5 second lead over the 0.24. And that could cement the win here today, as off again goes Ellico. Those tires absolutely worn down to the cord. That's the second time we've seen, and there goes Wallace. So momentarily in second, but no tires. That left front is just absolutely crying uncle. Can he even get it to the end? Wallace back into third. We think these two will be promoted back to the podium, as Barklow will not be able to make it, but at the moment he is in second place. The pole sitter back up to second place. I have to tell you, I was worried about the size of the grid. We know the summer races don't get the full attendance. But we've got drivers here trying to get their super licenses. We've got new drivers making their debuts, and we've had a heck of a show, especially in LMP today. Again, the fronts down into Verth there. Dean just can't get that car slowed down anymore. That left front is just completely worn out, it looks like, and it's only getting worse every time he locks it up. Barklow now 19 seconds off the lead. Ellico comes by. Lucas Wallace. A little bit of a touch with Chris Thompson. We believe that was the straw that pushed the incident limit over the... it's mixing two metaphors. It just didn't work out. It pushed him over the edge, and he had to come down pit road there. Clayton Barklow, who's had 2 drive-thrus already himself. An early pit stop, and again, we didn't see why he came down early. 2 drive-thrus, he's had a second pit stop, but we think a splash and go still to come. And if Dean Ellico can keep that left front underneath him and keep it on the track, he should be able to get that car up to 3rd place when the 818 comes back down pit road for his splash and go. Pit road time is 16.8 seconds. You're going to lose about 10 seconds on track. And then, of course, putting in about 10 minutes of fuel is what we calculate for the 818. Should be more than enough to put the 429 back up front. Barklow with 16 seconds. I guess technically he's going to be a little quicker. There's no reason to really do it earlier rather than later, other than the fact that the earlier you come out of the pits, you then have the pressure on. Mark Sonnen has passed Zach Forster, who is in the pits. And that was a drive-through for the 30 car. We've seen him have a couple of little off tracks, and it's those have added up as well. So Forster down to 4th in GTE Pro. But that's a close-knit thing, so we could see him coming back at the 111. Just 4 seconds separate them. Wallace continues to push. 13 minutes left, but he's got the tires to do it. As he comes back around the 66 of Chris Thompson. There's no reason not to push. Ellico is not really a threat from behind with those worn tires. And Barklow has to pit, so it's a 2nd place on the books, it looks like, and with a 22-second gap, he's got to gain more than a second a minute. With 12 minutes to go. But you're not going to force a mistake. We know Seeley's on older tires, so as small as he can get that gap, maybe he can force a mistake. Forster around again. That is coming out of Lacazza down at the back end of the back straight. Still got it all spun up as the race leader comes by through the same corner, through the smoke that lingers in the air. 11.5 minutes. When is the 818 coming down pit road? Aaron Stillwell in his debut out there completing the distance. He's had a rough day today, but good on him. He's 6 laps down. But Aaron putting in the 2 hours, and that's exactly what we look for when we're handing out super licenses. Aaron will be back at Sebring, and we look forward to him having a better day. Barklow in the pits. Wallace goes by, but the 818 in for his splash and go, and that will release Lucas Wallace. Dean Ellico just now crossing the start-finish line. You'll see him jump the timing screen. Stillwell coming in as well. He'd be off sequence with the damage repair, so not surprising there. We want to see what the gap is from Ellico to Barklow with 10 minutes to go. The 818 is out of the pits. He took 12.2 seconds. There he is of fuel. Just now coming out of turn number 3, and it looks like the gap has stabilized at just under 8 seconds. So we'll see if the pole sitter can get himself back on the podium. We know Ellico is struggling. Look how far down he's dropped. He's turning 1:36.7 the last time by, as opposed to the leaders who are in the 32.1s for Wallace, a 33.6. There's Seeley there, stuck in the mid-33s. Some of those boots might leak a little water in the rain as well. Only the left front changed in this race. The other one's all worn. The gap down to 20 seconds. Wallace is not, he's pulling more than a second a lap, but with 10 minutes to go, you're looking at about 6 laps, maybe 7. So that's only going to be about 8 seconds. He doesn't look like he has the time to get it. This could be the battle on the racetrack. There you see Ellico in the foreground, Barklow in the background. And that's for the final podium spot in LMP2. And that could be the battle on track. As we get a look at Lincoln Russell, he's got a podium position in GT3 AM. Lincoln having a very good debut here. He's a new driver in the series. He was at Silverstone, and with a second place, or with a third place here, sorry, he's in third. That would be back-to-back podiums as the GT3 AM class gets up and running. So Lincoln looking very good, as is Jan Spammers in the lead. Get a quick look at Jan. There he is in the Lamborghini, second at Silverstone, and he's had things his own way here today at Barcelona. Just now coming past Jan is that third place battle in LMP. Barklow's got the speed. He needs to trade a little bit of that for some control, it looks like. You learn very quickly with the format of this series. He's certainly been able to get through traffic. Everything looks great. Just a little on edge. But that will come as he's making the move now around the outside of Dean Ellico. Not a lot of defense with those old tires, and the 818. Dean holds it on the inside as they come through Repsol. But now with the inside at Seat, and Clayton Barklow will take third place back and grab that final podium spot with 6.5 minutes left. The hands, you can see the hands just wringing that steering wheel. The gap up front, 16.5 seconds. As we check back in with another car who's had an eventful day, that's Zach Vorster. Mark Sonnen throws some tire tracks in the gravel trap outside of Verth. This camera doesn't know where to look right now. As we have 5 minutes remaining here in race number 2 of the Summer Super Series. Race 3 goes at Sebring on the 14th of August. Come and join us there. For the final tune-up and the final auditions, really. As that is Lucas Wallace in front of the GTE Pro leader. He spun it. He rejoins the old circuit to get himself back on track. But that is going to cement the top 2 positions. Barklow too far back to take any advantage on that. And now with under 5 minutes to go, the gap is 23 seconds. Paul Seeley is, well, let's not say it out loud. Paul Seeley has can start to manage everything and bring this thing home. Wallace back on track. It looked like a little net code contact between him and Botha, but nothing big, and Jacques has a 42-second lead still. Barklow in the pits. What is going on with the 818? Another drive-through for the 818 of Barklow as the track limits are coming up to bite him again. And Dean Ellico is back on the podium. Ooh, and a big push. If he has any... I got a feeling Dean Ellico is going to cross the line with sparks flying off raw wheels. But it's going to be a podium. Other than the one incident where he got caught up when Christian Semba and Kevin Hensel got together. Dean with nowhere to go, almost got it hauled down, but did catch the front end of, or had Semba catch the front end of his car, kind of rode over top. You can see there's not really a lot of damage, and he hasn't been affected lap time-wise. That was the only thing. He's kept it clean, he's kept it on track, and he's done this race on one set of tires. It doesn't look like it turned out to be the right strategy, but it looks like it's going to be good enough for a podium, as Barklow has really, as I say that, he's just reeled him right back in. It's less than a 2-second gap again. There they are together on track. Lucas Wallace. How many times has Ellico seen this car come up in his mirrors? Barklow back to third. And he's deep again in turn 1, and around he goes. Back end in the gravel, don't pull out in front. That's John Nielsen. Ellico back to third. And now what's the gap? Now it's 6 seconds between them. Less than 2 minutes to go. Aaron Stillwell coming up behind the car he's chasing. Unfortunately, he is 6 laps behind the 818. The leaders start their 76th lap. Marcel Struve on pace for a podium here today. He had an issue at Silverstone. We know he didn't finish. He was not classified in that race. That means you have disconnected from the lobby for whatever reason. New rules in Season 3. If you disconnect from a lobby, you are not classified and you receive 0 points. So everybody will need to get used to that as well. We use the WEC points scoring with 38 for first, 25 second, etc., etc. And outside of the top 10, if you are running, if you are in the lobby, you receive a point. So you guys are going to have to get used to not disconnecting when things go wrong. As back together again, Dean Ellico and Clayton Barklow for the 52nd time this third stint. Barklow in third. And he's got it again. Paul Seeley has started his final lap. He's coming through turn 3 now. This is the battle on track. There is Seeley. Down through Lacaxia. Seeley's at Verth. And Ellico looks like he's given up that fight. They will start their last lap. Another! His spins. It's every 6X. Are you kidding me? Another drive-through penalty for the 818. Dean Ellico will pass him again while he's on pit road. Meanwhile, up through the top end of the circuit, through Bank Sabadell, comes the 72 of Paul Seeley. 2 corners to go. And for the second time in the KRL, the 72 of Paul Seeley wins the 2 hours at Barcelona. Behind him, the 999 of Jan Spammers wins GT3 AM. Lucas Wallace will come home in second place in LMP2. What a debut for the American. And in GTE Pro, a perfect day for the 888 of Jacques Botha. He will win the GTE Pro class. There's Kevin Hensel, who's going to come home in second in GTE Pro. Mark Sonnen in the 111 gets the final podium position there. Great job. There is Paul Seeley and Jan Spammers, your LMP2 and GT3 AM winners. And here are your race results. Paul Seeley wins ahead of Lucas Wallace and Dean Ellico. That's your podium. Clayton Barklow, what a day for the 818. He does come home in 4th place, setting a record for drive-through penalties, I think, in the KRL. I have to go back through the records there. Jacques Botha wins in GTE Pro ahead of Kevin Hensel and Mark Sonnen. Zach Vorster comes home in 4th place there. Jan Spammers wins in the GT3M class. Lincoln Russell second, with Marcel Struth your final podium place. John Nielsen and Chris Thompson round out the top 5. As everybody makes their way back into pit lane. And as promised, well, first of all, join us on the 14th of August for the final race of this Summer Super Series at Sebring. It'll be a 90-minute affair. So fast and furious, we hope to have most of the field there. I keep wishing, but we'll find out the final race for the summer before we head off to Season 3. And here is the big reveal I know you've been waiting for, the official Season 3 schedule for the Night Racing League Sports Car Championship. As I messed it up. I don't think I put it on the right thing. Well, I've got it here anyway. The Season 3 schedule. We're going to start at Daytona on the 11th of September. Then Road America on the 25th for 2 hours. Road Atlanta is the race 3, a 90-minute race on the 9th of October. Followed by Sebring, 2 hours on the 23rd of October. Interlagos, as voted in by the drivers, will be a 90-minute race on 6 November, followed by Monza, the first time we race at the Italian circuit, 90 minutes on the 20th of November. Le Mans, 2 hours on the 4th of December before we wrap it up with the Spa-Francorchamps Endurance Pits on the 11th of December. That is the Season 3 schedule for the Night Racing League. And we can't wait to get underway for that. Congratulations to all our winners here today. And we look forward to seeing you on the 14th of August for the Night Racing League Summer Super Series. So long for now.